do this.
I'm so ready. Can you stop? Ready, Freddy. I just got super nervous again. Now that we're talking about
Breathe
it.
through your nose and out of your ears.
I do the Draymond.
All right.
We're live?
We've only done this like 200 times. So.
What are we up to?
We'll get there. Here we go.
Anybody know?
You're listening to Thunderheads, a podcast for Thunder fans by Thunder fans.
Welcome to Thunderheads. If you're tuning in on YouTube Live, we're psyched to have you. I'm Brandon Soul, joined by the Thunder Tie himself. It is Mr. Justin Wright.
Frady hole. Get yourself in a Frady hole.
That's a Mike Hosty.
Nice.
I went and saw him last night. So.
Nice.
Oh, did you? Where at?
He's always at the deli on Sundays.
That's
Local
true.
hero. That's true, yeah. Forgot yesterday was Sunday.
That it was.
I rarely know the days of the week, though.
Yeah, they just
Seriously.
all blend together. I mean,
Yeah, kind of. I never leave this
Yeah,
spot.
right,
I'm
that's what I was-
always just right here. Doctor's in the house. That's Rob Larson.
What's up?
Dark and Stormy Jason Lewis is right there.
yes, sir.
Today, we're going to recap the All-Star Game. We're going to discuss how we feel about that new format. We're going to talk about Paul George's impending free agency and some comments that he made. And we'll discuss the Thunder's remaining 23 games, and we'll have a little bit of a new current events Olympic edition for you, hosted by Justin over here. But first, the disaster of the week right here on my phone. Guys, this one's kind of, it's a little gruesome. So if you got kids in the room, earmuff them.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
This is about to get real.
Well, it's not that bad. Yeah, and it is that bad. I'm not going to lie to you. It's bad.
Well, now I'm confused.
A pedophile, see, first two words right there.
That's not good.
A pedophile has been left with life-altering... Oh, by the way, before I get into this, I'm sorry. We had someone on Twitter recommend this to us, and I can't remember who, so I'm really sorry. But thank you for
thanks.
this. I'll find it afterwards. I'll tweet you or something. A pedophile has been left with life-altering injuries after climbing through the bedroom window of two young children, only to be greeted by their pet bulldog, who bit his penis off.
Oh, no!
Pretty awesome. Right? Good dog.
What a good dog.
This is so good
He's
so
such
far.
a good boy.
Yeah, this is the opposite of disaster. Disaster for that pedophile, but...
Yeah, this is...
52-year-old Randall James. What a pedophilic... Is that the right... what
Yep.
a pedophilic name.
Yeah, 100%.
Of
He was born that way.
of Saline County, Arkansas, climbed into the first floor window of the small family home into the room where the two young sisters were sleeping after passing by and seeing an open window. After climbing into the room of the 3- and 6-year-old sisters, James got more than he bargained for when the family's pit bull terrier, it says pit bull on here, that's wrong. Pit bull
Little
terrier
typo there, bud.
leaped to the girl's defense. What an awesome dog. The dog severed the rapist's genitals clean off
Oh, my God.
and swallowed his penis and
Whoa!
testicles.
So they
Were they out?
they had that's what I was
They
gonna say,
had
they
to have
had to
been
be
out.
out.
And that's what he went for. It was
wow,
like a
I
little
didn't
chew,
even think of that.
little chew toy.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, I'm going
it
after
was
that."
dangling, and they
Wow,
Also-
that's even creepier.
also this
though.
guy
like, it's
just-
already creepy, but you just already had him out.
Yeah, he also passed by an open window and was like, "Oh, wait a second.
Yeah.
Is that an open window?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going in. Who does that?
But he didn't even check if there was a dog.
Yeah,
Like,
doesn't even check anything.
It's
Just
like rule number one, dude.
yeah, I'm definitely going in there.
Even if you're gonna do like a minor robbery, like
Have a
that's
steak
rule
in your
one.
pocket that you can throw across the room.
Exactly.
Think about these.
You ever seen the
things.
movie Next Friday where
Yeah.
they feed it a weed brownie? But
he may not have had pockets though.
We probably shouldn't be helping out.
Who
the-
knows if he even
Yeah.
had
Pedophiles.
pedophiles when he went in there.
That's true. The commotion alerted the children's parents, who called emergency services. According to the father of the children, after calling the police, the attacker was in so much pain that he didn't even attempt to make an escape. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
James, the pedophile, was rushed to the hospital where doctors treated his wounds but said they were unable to rescue his genitalia after it had been swallowed by the pet
Nor
bulldog.
should they try.
That
No.
was on
Yeah,
purpose.
He
that's-
deserves what
They're
he
like,
got.
None we can do?
They also probably shouldn't have rushed him to. He didn't need to be rushed
Yeah.
anywhere. It's probably
That's probably
Maybe just a slow cartwheel ride.
yeah.
seriously, because that's like a due punishment right there. Just
Hey, we
suffer.
got construction, a lot of construction over here. We're gonna take
Yeah.
the long way.
There's a detour. Sorry, man.
There's a scenic route through the forest we're gonna have to take.
Yeah.
You really just rub it into. You're like, how's it hanging back there? Hospital staff said they were able to patch him up. Quote.
He just turned into a Ken doll.
And while he lost a lot of blood and was clearly in a lot of pain, he would survive. They added, although his injuries were no longer life-threatening, they were certainly life-altering. Yeah, I would say so.
His career is over.
Good point. His hobby. He's going to have to find a new hobby. The family, who can't be named, said they are just thankful their dog was there to protect the young girls from the attacker.
Agreed.
Yeah, the mother of the girls said, he's our hero. He'll be eating steak for a week. A week?
A week?
A year. Rest of his life.
Lifelong steak?
Right. I don't know if this is actually the x-ray.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know.
no one knows.
Local residents described the incident, which happened around 2 a.m. on Monday, as being very unusual for the neighborhood. One neighbor said they always leave windows open at night, saying we never worry about something like this happening around here. Another local resident described being awoken by the screaming during the incident. I think it woke everyone in the neighborhood up. I never heard anything like it. Blood-curdling screams that sounded like something from a horror movie. It must have lasted 20 minutes.
Oh my God.
When I heard what happened, I thought, no wonder. Then I thought, good doggy. It's a good neighbor right there.
Good doggy.
There's your story.
That
Your
was
disaster
solid.
of the week.
So
I know, that's
kind of a
brutal, right?
triumph of the week, I guess is what that is.
Yeah, it's like, well, disaster
Disaster
for
the
that guy, but
who was a piece of shit.
yeah, it's a loose title we have there
Yeah.
that we're working with. All right, guys. All-Star Game was last night. We all watched it except for Jason.
Watch some of it. Enough.
Well, let's get started right off the bat with let's just go in chronological order here. That pregame. What about that pregame?
Disaster.
The whole lead up. Let's not even mention the national anthem yet, but that whole lead up.
The Kevin Hart thing, I'm just I don't understand why he has to be so involved every
Is there
time.
like some sort of contract he has with the NBA? Like, I need to
don't
be a
know.
part of everything.
It feels like it.
I don't even mind Kevin Hart. I think
No.
he's a talented guy, but like when you do something that's so watered down like that, it's like, okay, dude.
Yeah, and it's like, it was just a bad thing. I don't know what they were trying to do. Like, it wasn't
Yeah, I know. Like,
cohesive and like,
and it's not basketball. Like they did such a good job this year, which we're gonna get into, of like making this feel like a basketball game, like an
Right.
actual basketball game. So you think that you would introduce the players like a basketball game,
right.
announce them in there, you
Make
know,
it feel
instead of
good.
having Kevin Hart do it. It just seemed a little weird. But then you get into the national anthem. Fergie does her thing. It lasts a good 11 minutes.
That
Her rendition,
was rough.
so bad, man. How are you guys? How are you guys dealing with that at that moment?
It was cringeworthy.
Yeah.
Like the whole time. The weirdest part is it just didn't make any sense. And like
Yeah.
she came out and said she tried, like she was just trying to do something a little different.
Oh,
for
really?
the
I haven't heard
NBA.
her speak about it.
I haven't
she
either.
came out and said
I
she
feel
was-
kind of bad
She
for her.
tried, she was trying her best. She tried to do something a little different for the NBA, and it just doesn't make sense. On that song, it doesn't make sense to try. And it was so, like, most of it just was so weird because she was putting emphasis on words that she shouldn't have been. Like, it was just I don't know,
drawing
it was just
out words
awkward.
for 17 syllables too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so slow and
It's like a smooth
Hideous,
jazz
really.
rendition.
I don't know how else to describe it, but it was hideous.
I got in late to what, like, I didn't watch any of this live, but just going back and going through Twitter and seeing all the players' reactions, the players laughing.
Oh, yeah,
people
that's-
like celebrities laughing. It's just, and yeah, it's, so you don't take creative license with the national anthem. Like, and you could tell, like, there are portions where, like, Fergie's really got this. Like, she's got the voice to do it in a really good, like, solid way. But yeah, then she just did some weird stuff, and it's like, yeah, please don't.
I guess that was my question though. Does Fergie have it? Like, does she? Is she like a noted
I think she could.
solid singer, or is she more like a pop singer that just had that certain appeal about her that it got her to where
I mean, if she had done just a normal anthem, like, it would have sounded okay. It would have
It
been
wasn't
fine.
gonna like be the most incredible thing you heard, but
Yeah.
on the parts where she just was singing the national anthem, like there were actually parts where I was like, man, she sounds really good, and then she
Right.
would like do something crazy, and it would be like, oh, I'm going to turn this off.
It's
terrible.
funny. It's funny. Like on Twitter last night too, as all this is going on, you almost have confirmation for whatever you need it for, which is just the day and age that we live in. So like, you might be watching it and you're like, this is bad. I hate this. Does anyone else feel like this? And then you like get on there and
Everyone does.
everyone ripping her to shreds,
Yeah.
which is
That's
kind of sad when you think about it like that.
Yeah, it's kind of it sucks now because, I mean, she did try something different. Probably not ever the time to try something
But
different
like so different.
yeah.
and just not good. Like, have someone else listen first and be like, yeah, that's bad.
You know what always kills? A saxophone. Just come
So
out
good.
there, just do the national anthem on a saxophone.
Well, there's
Boom.
no way she didn't like rehearse.
Yeah.
Like somebody was like
Like,
there
is her
was
manager-
multiple people that were listening to that, and
Right.
how did nobody be like, "Eh."
Right.
Yeah.
I think this
Like
is
her
a good idea
manager
for
sitting over there like, this is good. This isn't going to turn badly at all.
Was it Will I Am? Was Will.i.am in the room with her while she was
Yeah,
doing all that? Like,
should have been.
Yeah, girl, you got this.
Yeah,
That actually
seriously.
makes a lot of sense.
Someone should have been. That's for sure. All right, what about the new format overall? How do you feel about it, Rob? I know we've talked about it, that you kind of in the past, you haven't been huge on All-Star games.
Yeah, so before, previous seasons, before we started this podcast, really, I wasn't really into the All-Star game. I was into Saturday night. I love the three-point contest, and the skills competition is one of my, favorite, whenever they get sort of different guys in there, obviously, to see how they can do in those situations. But the All-Star game itself is not something that I typically watch, and I watched last night, and it was it's good. It's really good that LeBron came out and they were like, we want to win this.
Yep.
Putting the whole money on it for charity, such a
really
big
cool.
amount, like, just gives them incentive. But to have him come out and be like, to basically tell Team Steph, like, hey, we want to win. Like, we're coming out here to win. So I think that also helped put it on Team Steph to say, like, okay, so we're taking this. It's not like it is in previous years where we try and just score as many points and we don't play any defense until, like, the last 5 minutes. Now we're going to actually pick. And there were plays, like, you can pick out certain plays where, they picked up defense like 3/4 court, got the Paul George, the Paul George ending the half was, like, so cool. Those quick 5 points, like, that we didn't really see in previous years. And, like, that was the best part.
There was a little spurt throughout the game where, like, defense would pick up, like, out of timeouts and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, even just like, so some of the passes that the guys were making, they were the kind of the lazy passes you would make in years previous.
Yeah.
And guys were picking those off. Guys were stepping up and making the defensive play, where usually they just sit back like, I could probably take that and go dunk at the other end, but I'll just sit back. But they stepped up and played a lot of defense.
Yeah, and it's not like it was like a defensive game. Obviously, when you have that many people, you're going to have a lot of points. But I think Team LeBron had, 31 points after the first quarter. So it was like, there's a slower pace. Things weren't coming as easy. And I kind of like that, this is the first year of it. So it's almost, they're going to be figuring this out too. So they didn't know how serious each other's going to take it really coming in, And I think the one complaint that is valid about this new format is that if you are going to play more defense, it's going to take away from some highlight plays. But in my opinion, I don't really care. I don't care.
They still had plenty.
Yeah, there's always plenty, and they're not cheapened because they're not just like given.
It's not like, well, you're by yourself on the other end of the court. And I think, like what you were saying, I think giving team captains, I think that puts a lot of, like, it kind of makes them prideful. Like, oh, I want to beat that other team.
That's a good point.
And I was thinking too, like, it's kind of cool that, like, KD was going against the Warriors. Like, he doesn't want to lose to Steph, even though he's a bitch. But
that was a really cool part, though.
But yeah,
like
I
being
think
able
that's
to see
awesome.
teammates kind of go at it.
Yeah, it created like really unique matchups that you just never see. Like you just had some really cool teammates, and you get to see guys that have never played together ever before, like Paul George playing with KD, which obviously here, but like that's pretty cool, like to think about in the grand scheme of things.
Well, hell, even just Team LeBron, you had 3 different Thunder eras.
Yeah.
So you had Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. You had Victor Oladipo and Russell Westbrook, and now you have Paul George and Russell. It was really cool to see kind of that spanning of time for us as Thunder fans, like
just all together.
Yeah,
at
you
once,
kind of see all of it blend together
while they play James Harden.
Was it cool or was it almost sad?
It was sad.
I mean, it was
a little bit.
sad.
I mean, look at all the OKC
But it was
in
awesome.
that game.
Yeah.
It would have been worse if Harden had been on Team LeBron and we had it, like, instead of like say whatever.
They just roll up.
Somebody else,
Right.
like Oladipo wasn't as significant to me, but if it was like if Harden was there too, just that that sort of having all of
They
them
roll
there.
out just the OKC lineup, and you're like,
Yeah. Oh,
That was
I
our
mean, so
team.
much so. Russ, Harden, KD, Paul George, Oladipo, all in that game. That's just crazy.
What was the line? What was the line before that game started? Do you remember?
LeBron was favored 2.5.
What was the total points?
334.
It was up there.
And they expect, and so that's
So it
another
was
thing.
under, and LeBron
Like, you
covered by one.
expect it was way under. They scored 293. And so, like, I mean, you look at like what Vegas expected just from previous years, and then what they actually got. I don't know. It made it so much better than what we had seen previously.
There was a time, so like they had really kind of turned it on, off and on throughout the game, and then when that 6-minute mark hit, I think the same lineup stayed out on the court for Team LeBron until the end, which was Russ, Paul George, KD, Kyrie, and LeBron, which you look at that lineup on the court and you're like,
So good.
oh my god,
It was
like
amazing.
what do you do against this lineup? Imagine this in real life.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I mean, that is insane. And so, like that last 6 minutes, the way they were playing defense and the way they wanted to win because they had climbed all the way back in that game. It was just really cool to watch.
Yeah, because they were down pretty heavily, and it was really cool to see them like care that much.
Yeah.
Because I was like, man, this reminds me of back in the day when like Kobe was in All-Star games and stuff, and you'd be like, oh, they're actually fucking really trying.
Right.
Like, they want to win.
This was even more
cool.
so to me. Like I don't remember like ever feeling like this for whatever. Like there was times watching that game, 4 minutes left in the game where I like caught myself getting sucked in, like feeling like it was a real game. And I was like, oh my god, this is a real game. I keep forgetting
And
it's
I got
not
a
a
little
real
stressed
game.
out.
I'd be so fascinated by it though, because you actually saw like you really saw like unique teams made up. So you saw like unique strengths of each player. Like one big factor in the game was Russ's hustle. That he'd get on the offensive glass and just kind of like go pull down a rebound. You'd be like, whoa, no one else is doing that in this game, so
Right.
that's going to be something he can do. Or just little various things like that was really cool to watch.
One of the weird things for me was like we're so used to like late game Russ is going to have the ball in his hand, and then to see not exactly like at the end, but leading up to the end of that game where you would see it would like Russ would just get rid of the ball, usually like to LeBron. Sometimes it was to like Kyrie, but just to see him give the ball up in those situations is so weird.
It is.
Yeah.
It just felt I was like it's weird to watch just because we're not used to that. But
He seemed good at it for whatever reason. He still got his assists
Yeah.
last night, which I think that was like when he started missing his first few shots and he wasn't shooting so well. He's probably thinking it's like,
See,
oh.
airballed a couple.
Yeah,
Like,
he's like
looked a little rough.
oh, that late one where he had
Yeah.
the pull up too, like the
Yeah.
jumper that he does in normal games also. It's just
Yeah.
like a rust thing, just such a rust thing. Yeah, but LeBron did say at the end of the game that when Russ did make that huge play, basically the game-winning bucket, they said we wanted to get the ball in Russ's hands because we knew how he can break down a defense, and he did just that.
Yeah.
He kind of left his feet without knowing where he was going. Luckily, had Kyrie right there, dropped it up to Kyrie. Kyrie made a pass to LeBron, who's LeBron cutting to the basket. What are you gonna do?
So awesome.
Yeah, he got caught up in the air, which for a lot of people that's terrible. But
Sometimes with us, it's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
As long as
Russ
he's
is-
surrounded by guys with good hands.
Yeah, I felt like
That's
there were
true.
so many options there. He probably wasn't gonna make that big of a mistake, but
Also for him, he somehow is in the air for
Yeah, he
15
just
minutes at
jumps
a
really
time.
high.
I don't understand.
It's funny when you think about Russ and LeBron together, though, and just having that cutting for when Russ does leave his feet and LeBron just coming in there like a damn running back and just be like, well, I'll just give it to you.
Yeah.
And you know how Russ loves to throw those, I mean, to put it bluntly, idiotic passes sometimes where he just kind of, you're like, what are you doing? Why are you throwing that pass where he just
but they
goes
totally
up
work in that.
Because, yeah, if we throw it to LeBron, he's going to come down with it.
Yeah.
You know?
It's
It
not
was
going anywhere else.
So that closing lineup was really fun to watch. And you watch that defense on the last possession where you knew.
Oh, yeah.
It was like you knew they wanted Curry. It was his team. You knew they wanted Curry to get that shot up, and they just smothered him.
Double team him.
Didn't let him
He's
get
awesome.
a shot off. That was a lot of
somebody tweeted out when you have Russ and LeBron guarding you, the only teammate you can find is Jesus at that point. And it's kind of
fun.
true.
Yeah, it is true.
And it was neat to see because Kevin Durant was one of the big guys that forces him in the corner, doesn't allow
Yeah.
Stephen Curry to do anything, and then you see Russ kind of backing off. Like if Steph Curry even gets a pass above Kevin Durant, which is really hard to begin with, Russ is just going to go pick that off,
Yeah.
Right.
and it's going to be over.
Or
anyways.
Paul
It
George,
was-
who was also playing safety back
Right.
there.
It was a fantastic, like just the defense on that last play was really fun to watch. Like it was really well executed.
Durant guarded like 3 guys on that last
Yeah.
play
It was
too.
just on DeRozan and Curry and
And you saw like actual. The team after the buzzer went off, they were actually just like
They were excited
pumped.
about it. Yeah, it was
everyone so
awesome.
excited. The coach, even Dwayne Casey coming down the court, just everyone was super pumped about it. It was super refreshing to just see an All-Star game end like that.
Yeah.
where you're like, that
I was like, oh, that was
was
actually
awesome.
exciting.
That's how it should feel after all of it. But I guess like the worry going forward, if you keep having that competitive of a game, someone might get hurt.
Yeah.
That's the scary part.
Yeah, LeBron like bounced into Embiid early on in the game and he went down and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
is that it?
stuff like that. That's gonna happen.
The Paul George play was on DeRozan
Yep.
at the end where he
Oh yeah, he bumped him kind of.
he was going up the court. It looked worse than it actually was. He
Yeah.
got right up, but
It's one
it
of those
just
things.
is
Paul
a
George
little-
the whole time. It's like no.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's how they all are with each other. One of the coolest plays in the game was late fourth quarter where Russ found PG on a backdoor cut for a dunk. That was a lot of fun. Just fun seeing those guys hook up. PG got it going too with a couple corner threes. He was a big
Yeah.
part of that whole comeback.
Good.
Oh, and then the I don't know who tweeted it out earlier. The Instagram post where Russ, had the picture of him and PG
Yeah.
from last night.
Sounds like it was a good weekend for those two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Russ is now 7-0 in All-Star games.
Undefeated.
So, and the one that he missed, like in his prime stretch when he was hurt, the West lost.
Something to it.
Coincidence? I think not. The only thing here, though, is the whole televising of the draft, right? LeBron.
I think everybody's for it, right?
Yeah, I think even the players.
Yeah.
Are. They
Apparently, it was Steph's idea.
to not televise it.
Yeah.
Really?
Adam Silver
I missed
said that to somebody over the weekend, and like the announcers were like, seems like a thing he would have kept quiet. But,
Well, yeah,
but yeah.
'cause didn't LeBron come out right after that and be like,
Yeah, he was like-
I'd pick Kevin Durant first, which
Yeah. He gave
smart
his whole
move.
order, or not his whole order,
Oh, I
but
haven't
his
seen
starting
it.
lineup.
I haven't seen it. Yeah, I just saw they picked Kevin Durant first. Like, yeah, that's probably the smart play. Get him away from Curry.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, LeBron said he took KD, then Davis, then Kyrie, then Cousins for a starting lineup. So
Pretty
then
solid.
who knows who he took after that? But yeah, and then they brought up, some people have brought up like they should just do the picks right before the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, you're going to have injuries probably before that, like kind of do every year. So wait until it's actually decided who the teams are going to, or like
It
who
could
the
be kind of
pool's
a
gonna
cool
be.
thing, but
That's the coolest way to do it, but I don't think they'll ever do it that way.
yeah.
I don't see it ever happen. I think they'll do it early.
It
It kind of also builds it up a little bit when
Right.
you do it early.
I think so,
because
too.
you can kind of look at matchups and look at
See what the
how things
team's
are
gonna
going.
be
You
like.
can kind of talk about
even
it.
the players themselves. With like the way LeBron is, I guarantee he's looking at his roster and thinking like, okay, this is what I want to do with this team. This
Playing
is
it
how we
on
should-"
2K.
Yeah,
Is this getting there?
You know he was
Yeah.
doing some stuff like that, so that kind of does build it up a little bit.
Can we find a compromise where, let's say, the Thursday or Friday of All Star Weekend, you draft right then? You have a big.
I like
thing,
that.
That'd be cool.
In that portion of the regular season, just a day earlier, have a big thing at let's say it's in New York City. So you've got you go to the venue, you've got this big production that's on TV. TNT picks it up, and you do the draft. You do a live draft
could-
where you get to see every single step in the process.
You could even replace that stupid celebrity game,
Right.
And just do
Please.
it there, because
Just right before the Rising
Who
Stars or
cares?
whatever.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good idea. How you guys feel about the apparently burying of the hatchet with Russ and KD? Seems like they're a little buddy. Paul George spoke about it after the game. Someone asked him about it, said how are they getting along, and Paul George said something along the lines of, well, I mean, they're not best friends, but they're cordial and they're not constantly talking, but we'll talk. How you guys feel? Are you sad, or do you like it, love it, or hate it? Let's do that.
I guess I'll go like it. I don't really. Because I like Russ having that fury in those games, which I think he'll keep. I don't think that's going anywhere.
Yeah.
But I like for him as a person that he doesn't have to worry. Like, that doesn't have to be a thing anymore that they're constantly asked about. Like, and I'm just tired of hearing Kevin talk about anything related to OKC anymore. Like, I just want it to go away.
Same.
And us to move forward. So.
I don't like it.
Ooh.
See, you like
hate
that
it?
rivalry. You want it to keep going.
He's been such a douchebag. Like, I don't like, just to let him off. And I get it.
Yeah.
I don't think you should harbor that or just kind of hold on to that forever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still like, even whenever you think about it, like the game, you had KD getting in Russ's face for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
He's a real son of a
just
bitch,
to-
isn't
Andrew
he?
Robertson's face.
Yeah,
a couple
and like
years
it's
ago.
too, like, even if you forget everything that happened immediately after he made his decision, like
The way he's
the way that he handled himself in those games, since, like, it's just, I don't know, it's really hard to just kind of let go of that. And I think it's cool that Russ did, because I don't think it was about Russ anyways. Like, it always seemed like it was more Durant who was
So,
kind of driving that.
You're saying like you think Russ, that like the stuff KD was saying, doing, everything was pissing Russ off even more than he already was, and perpetuating it? Or?
I think the opposite. I mean, I think it definitely fueled Russ in those games, but after those games, I think it was just forgotten. Like, he doesn't. I think in those games where KD is sort of getting in guys' face, and kind of doing stupid stuff, like I think at that point Russ gets a little fired up, and then I think whenever it's over with, he forgets about it, and it definitely seems like the opposite for Kevin Durant.
Right.
Like he definitely holds on to that throughout
Oh, yeah.
the whole time. So
It was his whole thing, not being able to let it go anyways.
I like it. I mean, I think Russ is still going to come with that fire anyways. That it's just kind of who Russ is, and it's a played out storyline. I'm over it. So the fact that they can be cordial, and one, it made for a really entertaining All-Star game between the two. I mean,
That's true.
yeah, they didn't do a whole lot together, but the times they did, it was fun to watch.
Yeah, they
and-
spent the whole last 7 minutes of the
Yeah.
game on the court together,
Yep.
which is pretty funny.
high fives
Which is
and everything.
It's
Yep.
funny to think about
You're
those.
upset about it. You're like
No,
seething a
it's-
little.
Everything's fine. It's great.
It's funny to think about
Nothing to
those
see
two
here.
on the court going against Curry, Thompson, and Draymond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like, and then you win the game. You're like, well,
It's like, hey,
that's what we're
dumbass.
saying, man.
Yeah.
Could have done this. Could have traded for.
It
Pete.
is-
Could have made the same trade for Paul George, by the way.
It is kind of nice though.
Dumbass.
Yeah. It is kind of nice though that you give like everything that happened in those games where like last season where you knew the Thunder just didn't have a chance. Like those first quarters last season
Yeah.
were really fun.
And he's
where
acting like
it was like the
badass.
Thunder actually
Yeah, right.
were close. And then once they get up, like he typically does, he starts
Yeah.
talking trash. And then you look
He's
at
a
it
damn
this
front
year.
runner.
You look at it this year, and the Thunder actually, can compete with
Kick
them.
they ass.
Yeah, and they beat them.
Two zip.
It's so much more fun.
I
this
wonder
way.
how much of it is the fact that Russ got over that hump with the win and 2 wins, and maybe like he's able to let it go now, and even the fact that now he's got a running mate in Paul George and he's happy again. That alone is maybe enough for him to just be like, all right, I'm good.
And Paul George has bought into that, to beating the Warriors. Like
he really takes it personal.
When
Yeah.
they play the Warriors, he gets into it.
That's true. Because I think
Which
it
is awesome.
feels like to me what was keeping Russ from really just letting it go in the first place was the fact that just
He got-
exactly what it was. He got up and left. Like
he
you
got
just
hung
left
out to
me
dry.
here, dude. Like you just left me here. Like what is that about? So that's kind of where I think that stems from.
You mean to put it this way, like he got a new girlfriend. Like, he finally it went through the breakup.
That always
period.
helps move on.
Yeah, exactly. And
He
then
didn't
got
dump us first. He dumped us, and like you
You
gotta.
he's saying Russ got a new
Russ got a
girlfriend.
new
Oh,
chick.
I
Yeah.
thought you were saying KD. I was
No,
like,
no.
The reason he did is
no.
Son of
Russ,
a- Don't bring this up. I'm feeling things again.
It's okay.
I'll calm down.
because Paul George comes back, like it doesn't hurt as bad anymore.
Yeah,
You
I
can
agree.
move past it.
That's a great
Plus
point.
Paul George is really good.
Yeah, that always
That he
helps.
is.
That helps.
Helps when you get a good looking chick.
Let's talk about Saturday night a little bit.
Oh God.
To me, a little underwhelming. PG's performance in particular, for sure,
It's
underwhelming.
embarrassing.
Had 9, but it was kind of funny. Him turning that last corner, going to his final rack, and Russ just kind of laughing at him.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Crowd boos him a little bit. That was a
It's
good
what
time.
happens, PG, when you go to LA. They'll boo you.
Yeah,
I
I
like-
didn't expect him to do well.
I like that they had. You guys didn't have sound when you were watching, but
No.
the commentators were saying how he should. This obviously makes it easy for him to decide he can't shoot in this building. He needs to stay in
Yeah.
Oklahoma City.
I like it.
I like that a lot. Yeah, that was. I don't know how I feel about the all Moneyball rack in the. Like, all it does
Why can't
is
it just be normal?
Yeah, like shouldn't it be just whoever makes the most? Like I'm okay. I'm okay with one Moneyball per
In
rack,
each
like how
rack.
it's always been. But now you have one for every rack, and then there's one rack that's just all Moneyball.
it brings in more strategy to it, which I think because you get to place it wherever you want.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. It doesn't bother me as much as not have. We talked a little bit about this, not having an extra round. Like I feel like the 3-point contest and
the final showdown between
yeah.
two guys.
Yeah.
you
Between
know?
two guys, yeah.
That's how it should be.
It takes away a little bit whenever you don't have it that way.
It'd even be cool to if you're having that last round between two guys, championship round, and just have them shoot at the same time, just
Ooh.
opposite ends of the court.
Yeah, and I
That'd be
do
real
like
fun.
that, but then it's kind of. I think it takes away because you kind of like whenever you have somebody that's just draining them like Booker was.
Yeah.
Then you're obviously you're just gonna focus on him because it's incredible.
That's
He's
true. You can't
making
get to watch
28.
both closely.
Yeah, you don't get to watch the other guy. But
makes sense.
It is kind of cool to have them going.
And then-
but if they were like just going right at it at each other, I don't know. That would be kind of cool too.
Commentators would be going berserk.
Yeah.
Like,
That would be kinda
ah.
cool.
How'd you feel about that dunk contest?
I'm not a big dunk contest guy. Like I don't really.
Yeah, no, well, it's because it's usually bad.
But I did think that there were a few good dunks. There were a few that were not that I just didn't really like. But I don't know. The winner, obviously, Larry Nance didn't like that he lost. I know Jason didn't really think his dunk was that impressive. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was the second best dunk. I thought Dennis Smith Jr. had the best dunk of the night.
He did.
But didn't he
But
miss
he missed
first?
it twice.
Yeah.
Stop missing
He
dunks.
just missed it once, I thought.
Maybe his was
Either
once.
way,
Depot
it
missed.
always diminishes the quality of a dunk, though, if you miss.
But
you know, the whole night.
That's the give and take whenever you're doing difficult dunks like that, though.
I agree, but at the same time, it just makes it worse. Like the impact isn't as great.
It used to be a lot worse whenever there wasn't a cap, but now that you only get 3 opportunities to get one down, it definitely has enhanced it. But I don't mind. Like if you're gonna do something that difficult. Like I don't mind if you miss the first one and make the second one.
Yeah.
It
I just don't see how you can get a 50 if you miss.
I agree. Exactly.
Like, that drives me nuts.
And because you know what they're about to do.
Yeah.
Like you're like,
'Cause
oh,
I'm like,
so now I know what you're gonna do.
Right.
Now it's up to if you make it or not. so that's what it's about. So
there's also way too many 50s. That was the biggest
yeah, the
issue.
scoring
the judging was so
ridiculous.
Bad. It was so
It
bad.
was horrendous.
I also go ahead, Justin.
No, I was just is anyone else getting tired of like played out props, like
Yeah.
jumping over people, and especially like obviously Donovan Mitchell did this, but wearing an older player's jersey, like bringing out the Vince Carter jersey, doing the Vince Carter dunk, like yeah, that's cool, but like just dunking your own jersey, dude.
Yeah, and it's
Especially
a little unoriginal at this point.
Well, especially when you don't even play for the same team.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
You're wearing a Raptors jersey with the weird alternate jazz pants. It just looks strange.
Jazz pants.
Yeah.
Jazz
Plus, he didn't do the dunk as good as Vince Carter did.
Nowhere
didn't.
near
He
because
slipped.
it's Vince Carter.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what do you expect?
Yeah, so like
don't do that.
You can't do it if your dunk isn't going to be as good as the original one. Don't do it. No. You just can't do it.
I will just say I picked him to win, and he won. And
Good pick. Good pick. His first dunk was good too. Like I thought he came out of the
his
gates pretty good.
first dunk was probably his best one.
He couldn't bounce the ball right. That was his problem. Like he could never get the bounce right. But
Yeah.
that's a little better than missing the dunk, I
Right.
think.
The one that I really wanted to go down was Oladipo's first. You guys remember where he couldn't actually see?
Oh,
it was
yeah.
backwards. He couldn't actually see
That would've
it.
been awesome.
Man, I wish he had made that.
But he was bad in his first dunk contest.
he shouldn't have been in it.
No,
for sure.
He shouldn't. That's just not his style. He's more of an in-game, like
Yeah.
needs that
Ferocity
adrenaline going.
dunker.
Yeah, he's not just because he's not the springiest guy, really. You know what I mean? Like he can, but he needs that momentum in a way. But it's also like I just feel like it's ruined for me. Not ruined, but hard to live up to what we saw a couple years ago with Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon. Like that was just so incredible. They never missed a dunk.
Right.
It was
and
just-
they went back and forth for so long and just kept making them on the first try.
Oh, that was
Awesome.
so fun. Like I want to watch it again right now.
I would.
Just throw it
We
up
got a
there.
monitor.
Yeah, we can just throw it right now. All right, let's move on. Okay, so there was a fun little quote. Paul George, I don't know if I want to say it's fun, but he made a little quote this weekend when asked about his free agency, and he basically said something along the lines of, whatever decision I make, I plan on that decision being for a certain duration, being not a 1-year thing is basically what he's saying. He's saying I want it to be, where I'm going to be for a while. Let's just ask, is that good or bad for OKC?
Doesn't sound great.
Doesn't sound too great for us because we were all. we were talking before. We were kind of all leaning towards he's probably if he signs here, he's going to sign like a 1-and-1, right? Like he's going to feel it out for a little bit longer, maybe 2 years. But I don't know, like him obviously wanting to go to LA eventually. I mean, I guess he could sign like a 5-year deal and then go after that. I'm totally cool with, by the way, Paul.
Yeah.
If you want to go ahead and do that,
that's cool,
let's
man.
go ahead and write it up. But I don't know. It feels like because he said something like I don't want to be moving around teams every year and stuff like that. So if he just wants to go somewhere and be there for the rest of his career, that's a hard sell, I think, to keep him here.
I also think that reading anything at all into quotes right now just seems insignificant.
Yeah.
I mean, because he just hasn't made up his mind, and so we would be, it's too hard to read into that whenever he just truly doesn't
Right.
know
And
what he's going to do yet.
He can't know until it's that time.
Until he knows.
Yeah.
Can't
Doesn't
know.
know until it does.
You ready for the warm and fuzzies?
Oh, yeah. Please bring them. I need them.
It's great for Oklahoma City because he knows that this is the best place that he has to try and win a championship with Russell Westbrook.
Who's here for 5 years.
LA is not going to put anything together anytime soon for it to matter unless LeBron goes. LeBron's not going. Great for Oklahoma City. He's staying. Raise the fucking banner now.
Ooh.
Loved it.
I like the confidence, but I'm scared of what it might get you into.
I know. Well, I've already been hurt once.
We'll
I
have
can take this. I've got the scar.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
still fresh, but I know how to take it this time.
We'll
Yeah,
have counseling available after his decision. So.
It hurts less to get stabbed in the same wound you've already been stabbed in before. I think that's a fact.
This one will. It will. If Paul George leaves, it doesn't hurt anywhere near as bad.
No.
Yeah, we're used to it.
We didn't grow with Paul George. You know, the whole
Exactly.
city
Right.
didn't grow with
And
Paul
we've
George.
halfway been expecting him to leave the whole
That's
time.
true.
So
Right.
I mean, the Thunder are up against one team in this whole thing.
Yep.
It's the Thunder versus the Lakers. That's what's crazy about it. You know, we could come up with one of those detective charts where we're putting, like you said, Rob, all of his quotes and try to narrow down his thoughts and be like, well, he said this, so this means this. But I
Need
mean,
a Venn diagram for that, right?
You don't. He still could do the 1-and-1 thing. You never know. Like maybe he's like, all right, well, I want to make sure this is where I want to be. I'm gonna stay one more year and then I'll reevaluate. So you just don't know.
And they're in the middle of the season. Well, not the middle, but I mean, you're still. We're not at the end. We're
Yeah.
not even. There's still 23 games for the Thunder before the playoffs start.
I wonder
and
how.
then it's even the second. The second season going into that. So it's like, I mean, it's way too early to try and guess what he's gonna do.
I wonder how different the things he's said would have been if the Thunder had won, let's say, 8 more games this year. At this point,
probably would feel a little bit more cozy.
You think he like? I'd be interested to see what his quotes would be then. Like he'd be like, I'm
staying
here.
for real.
We're awesome. We got a real shot at this thing." And right now, it almost feels like they're still feeling it out. Like that's what it feels like. So,
does it kind of feel like Russ needs him to stay, not in a just competitive way, but just as a way to say like
for his feelings?
The narrative of people don't want to play with Russ is gone. Like I feel like that is a burden that Russ shouldn't have to carry, but does.
Yeah.
And Paul George staying would be such a huge statement to say like that's nonsense.
That would basically that would take that away completely.
Yeah.
And if he leaves, though, it's gonna maintain that.
Right.
And that's probably always
harder than ever.
It's gonna be really hard for Russ to ever lose that off his name when he goes down, and his legend goes down. That's gonna be part of it if Paul George leaves, unfortunately.
Him and Sam there together, just getting left all the time.
Oh God! But and the people of Oklahoma City.
Yeah, we all just huddle together and cry for a bit.
Russ has been kind of, I don't want to say encouraging, but he's been fun about this whole process here lately. Like
the other day.
at All-Star Media Day, Paul George walks in, the crowd of LA fans starts chanting, "We want Paul. This is their new thing." Russ tells him to shut up. Paul's not going anywhere. He's staying. And then they did shut up, which is amazing.
And he addressed that to him. He was like, see how quickly they got silent?
Which, so, going back,
That's
I don't know,
so scary.
1 month, 2 months. Rob, you were talking about how you didn't really see these public recruitments by Russ. Do you feel a little better about
that
it
one
now?
there doesn't make me feel better. Like I still feel like Russ thinks it's below, because I just think, and I don't want it to seem like I think that Russ just doesn't care if Paul George leaves, but it feels a little bit like Russ says, "I'm here. Like I know what I can do. You should know what I can do, and you should decide to stay." Like that statement basically
Pretty
says,
solid statement.
but the fact
he's really good.
He is really good, and somebody who's really good left. And I'm not saying it's all because of Russ, and I don't want this to be taken out of context. Because
that really good person was very weak.
What?
That very good person was very weak mentally and on the inside.
What I will say is Russ basically just making a blanket statement, and it could not mean anything that Russ said that, because it could just be something that he's saying to the media. But basically saying like he's staying, you can stop calling out for that because it's not going to matter. It worries me a little bit because it seems. I just think it just seems like Russ is sort of saying what I said earlier.
Yeah.
I'm here, Paul. You can stay.
I think that's about all you can do, though, if you're in Russ's position. Like, what more are you gonna do? Beg him? Like, I don't think you can beg.
And I don't. That's what I don't want it to be. Like, I don't want it to come across.
He's
as
definitely
like,
not gonna do that.
I'm saying Russ needs to be on hands and knees, like begging him to stay.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying whenever we do hear these public sort of. What's your pitch to Russ or to PG? We're gonna win a championship. Beat that pitch. Well, you're probably not, and so that's a little scary. You hear
Someday.
people calling for Paul George, and he's basically saying, you guys can stop because he's not going anywhere. It's clear Paul hasn't decided. He will say, Paul George says that. I don't know. It does worry me a little bit that Russ isn't the type to try and convince a guy to stay by making those public comments. Although you did have the All-Star game where he was, thought it was ridiculous that he didn't make it. And they're
That was
friends. Great. They whatever. They play cards. They play whatever they play when they're getting ready for games.
They had their lockers right next to each other for the All-Star game.
And recently, after one of the games, it was a big game, and the Thunder won. I can't remember what specific game it was, but Russ was getting interviewed after the game, and they asked him something about Paul George. Like, it's pretty nice having him around, and Russ said, like, yeah, and I'm hopefully he stays. Like, he said something like that, and I was that's cool. He knows the situation, and he's not afraid to acknowledge it. Whereas I feel like Russ 2 years ago was afraid to acknowledge it. Didn't want anything to do with it.
Wouldn't talk about it.
Well, and I do think there's different personalities between KD and Paul George, where, like, KD he always need that confirmation, like, yeah, you're really good, and I really want you to be here. Whereas Paul George, I feel like kind of, he knows what he can do. And there was also a little bit of, like, I don't know. What came out was that Kevin Durant didn't want to play with Russ, which I don't know that I 100% believe that. But that did come out. And so I wonder if Paul George is been in Indiana, which wasn't great, and then you get to come here and you get to play with Russ. I think there is value there anyways.
Absolutely.
Like, you're just going to have value by
oh, wow.
That was going to be
guys.
That was going to be my next point. Is that, I mean, Russ has a pretty damn good sales pitch right now, as far as, like, even with the Thunder being 33-26, Paul George is having arguably his best season in his career. At least things are coming easier to him.
Right.
He's playing with the best player he's ever played with. It's year one. Like,
and Paul George has, like, recognized that several times.
Right.
He said,
I
want to see this thing through. I'm like, I want. This is just our first year. He said that multiple times.
Right,
which,
exactly. Because it's not realistic to come in your first year and just win a championship. That's not really realistic.
Well, it's also not just Paul George. You have to figure out how Carmelo Anthony fits in this thing on the court. So it's more than just one guy to try and figure it out.
Definitely it is. But I think, like, a lot of the decision starts with one guy.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So that's where I do think the Thunder have a decent sales pitch here to work with. But it just
I
goes
just
back to the
don't
same
think
thing.
it should be championship.
I don't think it is, though. I mean, I think Russ was doing that slightly tongue-in-cheek, slightly coming from a place of arrogance and confidence.
But the worry is you get eliminated in the second round, and
then you send them some chocolates and you say, stick around.
Let's go fishing, bud.
Yeah.
some Sherry's
I just
berries.
wanted you to get some fish before summer was up.
At least you can hang your hat on Andre Robertson. You can use that. Be like, hey man, we lost Dre.
If he had been here,
Come on, man.
championship.
All right, so
Clearly.
23 games remain for the Thunder. What do you expect? Put it pretty broad here. What do you expect from the Thunder in these final 23 games?
I mean, it's so weird looking at the schedule, and if you take yourself away from what the season's been, you look at how tough it is. You're like, well, they're probably going to struggle. Mm-hmm. But then I think of what I've seen as the season has progressed. It's like, okay, well, I kind of welcome a challenge because this team happens to welcome a challenge.
They've been better at
They
challenges.
only it's only when they're playing good teams that they really actually show up to play basketball. So I think knowing that there's a lot of talent, knowing that some of these guys, like I know Steven Adams and Carmelo probably really needed this All-Star break.
For sure.
That gives me a lot of confidence to say that, I 14-9 at the worst is what I kind of think, and I think that we talked about 17-6. Mm-hmm. Is that achievable? Is that something? And yeah, I do. I think that 17-6 is something that's achievable. It's going to be difficult. They're going to have to play really, really well. I think they're capable of that.
I wonder what that would put them at. 14-9 scares me a little bit because, as you look at it right now, they're actually closer to the 7th seed.
I'm disappointed in 14-9.
To the 3rd seed.
14-9, I'm disappointed.
14-9, I think that puts you definitely as the 5th seed, and maybe even like the 6th.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
that's the hard thing. It's hard to assume or guess what that might
Possible
be.
you could even drop out of the playoffs somehow.
Yeah.
Which would be really bad.
So, I mean, let's just put it flat like that. What do you expect from this team? Meaning, what do they need to do for you to not be disappointed in these last 23 games?
They have to win a lot of.
How many of them? How many of them, Rob?
16 at minimum. 16, 17 of those games.
16 and 7 would be put them at 49 wins, and I think that could get you the 5 seed this year for sure.
Yeah, I would. I would expect that to get you the.
And I picked last pod to get right at 50 wins.
Mm-hmm.
If they get slightly below that, I'm not going to be horribly disappointed. Like, stuff's been kind of swinging that way all season, where it's like, well, we just kind of lost that one that was almost the win.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be super shocked if they don't get quite there.
So we have seen this team drop games that they shouldn't. Obviously, you know that's how they're in this
That's
position.
how they
33
got here,
and 26.
right,
I wonder, at post All-Star break, you start looking ahead to the playoffs a little bit. Does that not happen as much? Do you beat the teams that you're supposed to beat more often?
And then start losing to the better teams?
Possibly, yeah. But, because there's also, like, if it started right now, Houston's the 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that obviously those two teams are going to have something to play for the entire time.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know that anybody's really going to be taking it off. And, with how close the West is, it's just really critical. Like, before the All-Star break, the schedule opened up. Like, that should have been such a good time for them.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's going to get a little bit tougher with the competition being a little bit better. I don't know. It worries me a little bit, but I would say 49 wins would seem like something you could be okay with.
Right.
What's it take for
agree
you
with
to feel confident going into the playoffs?
I mean, I
For
think
this
right
team.
around there.
Yeah.
I think you have to be right around there. If they drop a bunch of like winnable games, that doesn't make me feel great.
I agree, because at this point in this season, you would hope this team understands the importance of this final stretch and heading into the playoffs. And if they drop a bunch of games in a row, they go on another 4-game losing streak.
Yep.
Can't have that.
That's gonna
You
be rough.
cannot have that right now.
Well, and I think this whole season it's been us going, well, I mean, it's just taking time. It's just taking time. Well, now it's like you've had time, and now it's like time to get serious, and they need to be locked, like getting to where they're locked in. Maybe not like right off the bat. Like it's probably going to be a little shaky and stuff again, but I think the closer you get to the playoffs, they need to be looking like more sharp each game.
I'm with that.
The worry there is that it was like at first it was like, well, let's see how they look 20 games.
Yeah, and then we kept
And I was
pushing
like,
it.
Okay, well, so
Yeah, it's been
maybe
pushed
like
back, pushed back,
30 games, 35. We'll really know.
They played in like 17 time
and
zones.
then it was like, well, after the All-Star break, so let's see, I guess.
I really just have so much confidence in Russ and PG. It's the other guys that worry me a lot. I have a lot of confidence in Adams too, but it's the other guys. If those other guys can play well, this team I think can feel really good about themselves heading into the playoffs. But if they can't get any help, it's going to be tough.
I think Grant's going to be crucial to this run. Like he's got to continue playing
and that
where
buyout
he's
market
been.
that we haven't heard anything about.
Jesus.
What's
Weird
the
part.
Yeah, it
Nothing
doesn't
happened.
sound like anything is. There's still
Something has to happen.
You really think so?
Yeah.
They got to
do something.
They got to do something
No,
with that
no.
spot.
I mean, no, something significant.
I mean,
I don't know about that part.
Yeah, what is Tony Allen significant?
I think so.
Then yes. Then I say yes.
I mean, not significant to where it. I mean, they need to shore up that a little bit. Like
Yes,
you have to
absolutely. Something has to be done.
something has to be done. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
You have to make.
If
a
it
move.
doesn't, I'm calling Sam.
Yeah.
Hey, bud, what happened?
Well,
Nothing.
let's say
Nothing
they do.
happened.
Let's say they do.
Anything you want to talk about? Or?
Let's say they go
Anything on your
with
mind,
a big guy.
maybe?
Does that? I mean,
Kendrick.
well, no, I don't think. God,
Lamar?
I hope not.
I hope it's Lamar.
What if they don't make a move in the buyout market? Like, what if there's just not? It just doesn't make sense to do, or it doesn't work out.
It'd be hard to support that. I don't know. I don't know what place that could come from. I think you
getting
have to try something, because even if it's a guy you pick up and you're like, yeah, it's not working, then just don't play him.
Sebastian Telfair. Just bring him back
Yeah, don't
with
do
his
that.
guns.
We got to move on.
Let's move on.
We got a game.
We do.
It's current events. You know what time of the year it is too. Winter Olympics. So Justin over here has prepared a game for us, huh?
That I have. So the 23rd Winter Olympic Games officially kicked off with their opening ceremonies on February 9th.
Correct.
The games are being held this year in Pyeongchang County in South Korea.
I'm glad you said
It's-
that, because I've not known how to pronounce that until just now.
Yeah, Pyeongchang. It's a county in the Gangwon province. It's
I knew that part.
The
Yeah.
northeast part.
I'm very familiar with
Yeah.
Whatever
It's the,
that.
I own real
it's-
estate.
It's in the South Korea. It's the northeast part of the country. They're the Taebaek Mountains. It's this mountain range that kind of runs on the eastern part of South Korea. So I mean, there's a lot of skiing. Like it's kind of like Aspen. It's just like a ski resort kind of county. Like there's a bunch of skiing and stuff.
Not
so.
as dangerous as Aspen, I don't think. Danger up north a little bit seems a little bit less, but
No threat of nuclear war. That's for sure.
So this year there are 102 events in 7 different sports with 15 total disciplines, featuring almost 3,000 athletes from 92 Olympic committees. The U.S. sent 244 athletes to compete in 97 of the 102 medal events. And actually, the U.S. locked down their 100th gold medal of the Winter Games of all time this
Congrats,
Olympics.
U.S.
well
About
done
a-
by the
USA.
About a week ago.
Huh?
So that's a cool thing that they did. And there's plenty
Thought we were
more,
starting to chant.
plenty more medal events for the U.S. They're kind of hanging back right now. They're not doing as well as I would have hoped, but
We prefer
disappointing.
summer here in U.S.
That's why we're talking about it on the Thunderheads podcast. Like the Thunder, they're
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
Underperforming.
hanging back a
but
little
hey,
bit.
the closing ceremonies are on the 25th of this month, so there's plenty of time to make that push.
Make
and,
that playoff run.
Exactly. So on that
They have
note, let's take our favorite Thunder players,
Okay.
all of them, except for Alex Abrinas and Steven Adams because they're
Not
not
on
from
the
the
team.
U.S.
Okay, so we need Americans.
Yeah, only Americans. It's Team USA. So we're gonna go with 4 different sports,
Okay.
and we're gonna take 8 of those Thunder players and build some teams and individual Olympians from the roster. So let's start off with curling. Curling. We're gonna do men's curling. We're gonna do a team of 4. You want precision. You got to be on target with sliding your stones, obviously. Great vision to see play, and then strategy. It's kind of like chess. Like you got to know what you want to do. Block your opponents. And my featured U.S. athletes are Becca and Matt Hamilton, the brother and sister duo, competing in mixed doubles, men's and women's curling.
I saw them
Good
on
for them.
Jimmy Fallon doing a little miniature one. Pretty funny episode. I'll
And
give you that. So.
Matt Hamilton has a sweet mustache. So what do you guys got?
I'll give you mine. Here's
Do it.
my team. All starts with Russ. He's your point guard on this team. He's a great leader, strategist. He will play aggressively. No, he might get you in trouble.
Yeah,
He might get you in
your
trouble.
curls.
knocks the other guy's rock off. Just for
Yeah.
Is the
Oh, yeah.
rocks? Is that what they're called?
Stones.
Stones.
Same thing.
He got his rocks off.
Same thing.
yeah.
Mello, who's on target if he has an open look. Just give him the first shot, just right in there. Ray, who's sturdy. So when he's scooting that stone down there, oh my God, he's not moving. He's gonna be just low center of gravity. It's gonna be great.
He's solid as a stone, you could say. Almost. Yeah.
And I want Steven Adams so bad on this because he'd be so good
I
at
know.
wiping the floor
I
per
know.
se.
Can't have
He'd
him.
be good at sweeping.
Yeah, so good at sweeping.
Unless
So
you get him a fake ID.
I'm gonna go with that's all you need to get in.
Yeah.
Just show him your ID. You're good.
That one lady snuck in.
She.
She cheated.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with Jeremy Grant.
Nice.
So I'll go. So this is one of the least athletic events. So I actually went with Nick Collison because of
Same.
you need the vision. I went with Dakari because he can sweep the crap out of in front of that stone. He
Got
doesn't
long
really
arms.
He probably
Got
has
long
some
arms.
sweeping
He doesn't
duties
really,
as a rookie too
yeah,
in
and
the
he
locker room.
That's a good point. I wish I'd thought of that. I also had Raymond Felton. We need some vision
They almost
here.
have the same team.
And I went with Carmelo,
Never
as
mind.
you did.
Yeah, nice.
I only used players one time in
Yeah.
this situation. So I went ahead and used my non-athletic people, like you were saying. Got Felton, Collison, got Pat in there because I feel like he
Pat-Pat's
does
a good one.
does a good job of passing, and can't really do much.
He likes to shoot it from deep.
So and then I also got Hamilton in there just because point guards.
Wow, you're going for two-way players here,
Yeah.
huh? Really
Got to.
digging.
I like it.
Really
Got to.
You
digging.
got to play a little defense.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Well,
So snowboarding.
Okay.
yeah.
We're gonna do one individual for this. They'll be competing in both the slope style and the half pipe. You want great balance, speed, acrobatics, and the ability to do some crazy shit in the air.
Have to.
My featured U.S. athletes are half pipe gold medalists John White and Chloe Kim,
Mountain
John.
Dews, baby.
and slope style gold medalists Red Gerard and Jamie Anderson.
That Red Gerard guy's real tiny, huh?
Yeah, and he's 17. Chloe
that-
Kim's also 17. They're super young, but
so
like
crazy.
they're,
I just
they're
kind of wonder.
fantastic.
I wonder if that's
Imagine-
what people say about him all the time. Look at that Gerard fella. He's tiny.
Imagine growing up just like on the mountain like that though, and just having an opportunity to
Weird.
be so good at that.
So different than my life.
So I'll go first here.
Okay, sure.
Slope style,
Fine.
you have to be a little bit creative. You know, a little bit creative here. So I went with Terrence Ferguson.
Sames.
Okay.
Wow.
And then
He's
really
cheating off your
excited.
paper,
Yeah,
dude.
stop
Literally not.
looking at it.
Mine was written before yours.
And then half pipe, I went with Jeremy Grant. Get some air
Whoa, whoa,
up
whoa.
there. And
It
You
looked good
switched
too.
players
because
mid-event.
He'd just be.
Yeah, he just threw he threw in one for
It's okay.
slope style,
It's
one for
okay.
half
It's
pipe.
okay. I didn't know we could do that.
What you got? You got Terrence Ferguson
Terrence
for slope
Ferguson.
style. Who you got for the half pipe?
I thought you said one individual for both, so I picked.
It was I didn't
Free-
clarify.
He's doing both of them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I
Wow.
missed that.
No, you're good, Rob. I couldn't-
Jason has he's not capable of thinking who.
I don't go outside the box. Nope.
So my slope style, I'm gonna get someone who's elegant, someone who looks good, just the way he moves. Paul George.
Got that Outcast song.
Paul
stuck in my
George.
head.
He's just gonna look good going down the slope like that, and he's gonna get a lot of points by doing that. Half pipe, T-Ferg. He's gonna be my guy that's gonna fly through the air all
Oh, yeah.
skinny like.
Yeah, but see, you got those backwards.
I don't
I'm not
know.
gonna rip
I like
on
it.
you a
We'll
little
see.
bit,
We'll
but you
see.
got a little backwards.
We'll see.
All right.
We'll see about that.
All right, let's move on to alpine skiing. So we'll do giant slalom and super G.
They should just call it skiing, honestly.
Yeah. Does seem like what it is.
But then there's cross country skiing. You got to differentiate the two.
Just call that one
so-
cross country and the other one skiing. And then they're
Cross
different.
anyways,
skiing sounds
There's
terrible.
not a problem you have to solve here. They already have names. We're not trying
Yeah,
to
let's
solve
rename them.
Oh,
the
okay.
problem, yeah.
Oh.
So
It's a bigger hat.
alpine skiing, we're gonna look at giant slalom. So that's where it's just a high mountain. You're cutting between the gates and stuff. And then super G, you're still cutting through gates, but it's more like a speed-based event. So yeah, technical cutting ability and speed, fly downhill, run a fast time, slalom through the gates. My featured athletes are Michaela Schifrin, who got the gold in giant slalom, and America's sweetheart Lindsey Vaughn.
So I just took Russ here. Fast as hell.
Me too. I went there for the slalom.
See,
Because
I went one for both.
This
mainly
one
because of
definitely
his.
says pick for each
One
team.
individual for both.
He doesn't.
No, it
Oh, it doesn't say both on this.
doesn't say both.
He
Didn't
Does that-
read. I didn't read.
Jesus Christ.
Oh,
I'm
man.
trying to read.
I'm also going Rusto because I totally just took his ability to split the double team or the trap on the pick and roll. You just go, boom. That's just like slalom. He can just. But I think T-Ferg is a good option here too because he's so slender. He could just.
I took Russ on the
Could barely
Super
see
G because he's super fast, and I thought that could be important.
That
there.
is good.
No
You know who
idea.
I went with the Super G? Kyle Singler. Seems like he's already good
I
at
went
it.
with Kyle Singler with the giant slalom.
Did you? Yeah. That's giving him a lot of
He's-
credit. We're flipped on
Yeah,
all
He
this.
is nowhere in my teams. Left him off.
Well, I wanted to give him something to do.
Fantastic. All right, move on to the biathlon. One individual, you got to ski far and shoot straight. And fun fact, not that fun of a fact, but the U.S. has literally never medaled in the biathlon, ever in Olympics.
Doesn't
in
sound like
Olympic
a
history.
significant event. And
Yeah.
then.
Well, you would think like shooting guns.
Yeah.
That's got to be a U.S. thing.
Gotta be a shot,
Yeah.
baby.
My featured athletes are Lowell Bailey, who was the first American to ever win a world championship, and Susan Dunkley, who was the first female to
basketball
medal
name.
in the world championship. So who you guys got?
Biathlon, I'm going Jeremy Grant. Because much like driving to the basket, by the time you get to the shooting part of it, it takes forever, I feel like. I have no idea. How long is it? Do you know?
It depends on there's some that are just
okay.
like 10 kilometers.
Well, I feel like Jeremy Grant works so hard to get to the rim, and I'm equating that to getting to the shooting part. And so he draws the foul oftentimes, and that's...
the shooting part could be difficult with that.
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
You
See-
guys were talking about.
He's going to have to go in the penalty loop
penalty.
a lot.
So see, I'm gonna lose this. I got Mello.
Ah.
He's gonna get real tired.
Yeah,
However,
not making it to the shooting.
However, if he does make it to the shooting
He's
part,
not.
we're good.
that's true.
We're good.
I haven't
fair.
used Paul George yet, and that's who I'm gonna go with.
That's a good one.
I'd see that, especially just like if you think about the shooting as like a free throw thing, then yeah, Paul George is going to hit all 5 targets
Yeah.
and boom.
Also, if it's from 3, he'll just shoot like 43% and be
And
really
he'd
good
be
at that
pretty
too.
solid.
If he's open, that's cash.
Oh yeah.
All right,
Oh,
let's
I miss it. I miss it already. I'm
let's
ready.
bring this home with a beautiful event. Figure skating. One individual for the free skate, beauty and grace combined with impressive precision on jumps. My featured athletes are Adam Rapon, Nathan Chen, and the Shib Sibs, Alex and Maya Shibatani.
I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't
I've understood very little of what you've said this whole time.
These are U.S. athletes competing in the Olympics, and the
Exactly.
The U.S. figure skating team actually earned the bronze in the team skate.
Congrats to them.
Third place.
I'm definitely losing this one because I went with Mello.
Oh,
I forgot about the jumping part.
His stomach
But I
is
was
just
saying-
hanging out of the tights.
The only one worse you could have picked was Dakari.
Yeah, I know, but I felt
Oh
like
my
he'd
God.
look good while he was twirling.
Disaster.
Well,
He
wait,
went-
hold on. I'll help you out here. So let's say Mello, we'll just stick him in the ice dancing.
Uh-huh.
You can't jump. They're just throws.
Okay.
So it's him and Lala.
Yeah, that
There
looked
we
good.
go.
Yeah,
That's
that looked
better.
good.
So I picked Paul George because he's smooth as eggs.
That could be good. I feel like Terrence Ferguson is good for all
He
of these
is
events.
incredible.
Josh Eustace is who I picked because I didn't.
He
have
kind of
anybody
looks
else.
like he could, like he's got the look about him a little bit, you know?
I
He
feel
looks
like
like
he
a
was in
figure
drama
skater?
class.
Yeah, he's
like
kinda
he's
got that
probably in
look.
drama class once, so he's got like the.
That's,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
that
He
about
looks
him.
like a drama class
You
Wait,
student.
have to watch
what
the
was it?
YouTube for that.
What'd you do?
I can't do it again.
Let's get
Only
some
got
Twitter
one.
questions, huh?
Tweet, 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 tweet.
That was a fun segment, though, Justin. I like that.
All right, from Zach Weber at Z Avalanche 33. Are you guys hiring?
He's got 30.
We have no money.
No, but we'll take an intern, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
contact us. OKCThunderheads@gmail.com.
All right. So from T at Drinking Tea, is playoff Paul George a real thing?
God, I hope so.
Yeah, hope so.
Same here. Like that's where my confidence comes from in him, though.
I've seen it before.
Yeah, I mean he's been there. I think that's what he's waiting to get to, much like Russ, much like Mello.
Yep.
I have confidence in it.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And he's gotten better as the years go
I
on.
wonder
He is
how
good.
much the offense is going to change once the playoffs do start, and sort of show that a little bit more. You're going to have to rely on Paul George,
Yeah,
even more
to make
so.
plays and stuff too.
Yeah.
Maybe that Gatorade commercial will finally
Do you
come
think
true.
do you think Billy staggers them in the playoffs? Russ and Paul George?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't
Take
think so.
take
Tim.
too many minutes away from them being on the court together.
Which is the best
Probably,
time
yeah.
ever.
All right, we have a few people that asked kind of similar questions. So
don't
we
say.
lumped them all. From Johnny, Evan McDonald, Kaz, and Ben Burke. How do we get LeBron to sign in OKC, and is it worth all the drama it would bring?
We had I don't know,
So
11
many.
questions come in.
All of you asked.
All watching last night, everyone's pumped about watching LeBron and Russ play together.
It was a blast.
Understandably, what it would take. Well, first off, you would have to have PG opt out, Melo opt out.
Them take veteran minimums.
Yeah, and then LeBron would have. So hopefully you would have cap space. I think Thunder would have a little bit of cap space. LeBron would have to fit underneath that cap space. So I'm guessing probably somewhere around $12 million a year. Which why would
He's
LeBron
not
do that?
doing that.
Why would he do that? Then you'd be able to re-sign Paul George with his bird rights and everything, and your tax bill would be
And Melo just goes away.
the most realistic chance if LeBron wanted to come to Oklahoma City would be something like you would have to do a sign and trade.
Everyone
and
else
in that
on the
sign and
team.
trade, it would have to be Steven Adams or Melo if you could get Melo to agree to it. But why would he do that?
Yeah. He wants to stay at that
There's,
point.
there's only about 7 other teams that make more sense than the Thunder. Like it's
Money
not-
wise, or
just everything.
Really?
I mean, really, I think everything.
I think
yeah.
if the Thunder had the money, they might. I mean, outside of it being Oklahoma City, I think they might be the favorites to get him.
outside of I don't think so. Like Houston, I would think for sure would be.
Well, Houston would be a good one.
yeah,
for sure.
Even if you don't take money into account, I think Houston is probably
Yeah,
the
you
favorite.
You might be
there.
right, but behind Houston, I think the Thunder would be up there if you don't consider
Yeah,
money. or
if
location.
money wasn't an issue,
Yeah.
I think you would. The
Hey,
Thunder
guys.
would go up a little higher. But
Money is a super issue.
yeah, it
It's
definitely
a
is.
huge
an issue.
deal.
Thunder ain't got no money.
Ain't got it.
It's time for LeBron just to go on his championship tour and just bounce around
Go to
team
every
to team.
team and win
yeah, win
one.
a championship and then move on.
Except the Warriors.
That would be impressive.
It would.
That'd be awesome.
He'd be 60.
From Cole Steffens at Cole Steff, how depressing was it to see KD and Russ playing well together again?
That didn't depress me, surprisingly. I think I'm over it now.
Yeah.
I'm finally over it.
I felt okay.
yeah.
Rob,
Rob's
let's
not
go ahead and-
over it,
Let's get
man.
your answer.
Thank you, Katie.
He has no words.
He thought earlier when he was getting the sads, that was over, and now here it's
And
back
then it just
again.
right
Just
back
keeps coming
at
back
you.
up. Yeah.
From OKZ at ZDZY Bach, what are the odds of going to a 1 through 16 playoff format? Doesn't this stand to benefit everyone but a few Eastern Conference teams?
it kind of feels like this is going to happen at some point. Like Adam Silver keeps bringing it up every once in a while. And
Yeah, he was asked about it
Yeah.
during the media availability, and he said that was one of the things that they're definitely looking into.
Yeah, and it just sounds fun, man. Like you look at the matchups, like if the season ended today,
Yeah,
I don't know
someone
exactly
put that
what
up.
they're-
It's like someone put a graphic up of that today, and I was like, that'd be
Yeah,
kind
I
of cool.
think-
it'd be a lot of fun.
With the way travel is right now, like you need to do some restructuring at some point, and that's
For
going to
sure.
be
Yeah.
the first domino to fall. So Steven Adams for MVP at Kid Clutch 0. Do you think Presti is considering D Rose?
We kind of talked about this last week. Someone asked about it,
I say no.
but yeah, I don't
I don't think so.
I think
That's-
he doesn't really fit with what we got
No, not
at all.
If
His legs don't work.
I would much rather have Raymond Felton, especially because he's already been here. He's sort of worked his way in a little bit. Like, I don't think you want to mess that up, and I don't think that those two play together.
He has actual knees, so that's good.
From Goebbels Syriac at JSmoothP27. Do you think Melo is the least impactful player on our roster?
No, I'm going to
so
give that to
harsh.
Kyle Singler.
Yeah, but as far as minutes, guys, I still say no because
No.
I think even if it's a negative impact, oftentimes.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
He
Really
you could probably
impacts
make
it.
the case that he has the biggest
Yeah.
in that area, because whenever he's making shots, the Thunder seem to be unbeatable. Whenever he's missing shots, whenever
Very beatable.
he makes them so much
So
worse.
yeah,
weird
because if
one.
you think about it, like Russ, even when Russ is having a bad game, and Russ is like 5 for 21 or whatever.
Does other stuff.
Yeah,
doing
he's also the guy that's keeping you in the game in a sense. But if Melo's 5 for 21, you're gonna lose that
He's
game.
not playing defense.
No.
He's not getting you rebounds.
Yeah.
It's just not good.
Doesn't get to the foul line anymore ever.
What a mess.
It's a myth.
From Michael Cage, headphone scan at the Brody 2020.
I still
Now
love
that
it.
the break is passed, should we be tougher on our criticism towards the team heading into the playoffs?
I think so.
I will be.
Yes.
I think it's a little ridiculous if people aren't sort of criticizing this team more.
It's time to bring that heat.
I just really worry about the depth on this team. They just seem so thin. Like come playoff time, you see guys like Alex Abrinas and Josh Eustace have a Terrence Ferguson have a good game here and there. That's just
forgot
not
those
going to
guys.
happen in the playoffs. I'm afraid. That's what I'm scared
I
of.
kind of forgot those guys were on the team, and that's sad.
From Dave at Dave in Vegas. What exactly do you think medically cleared to play means for Gerald Henderson?
I don't know. That's a
Been
good
cleared by
question.
doctors to play.
That is a good question. He's a free agent out there though. That's another name that I could see the Thunder looking at.
I
though.
kind of like. I mean, it's assuming he can.
Like that's the most Thunder name ever, too. Gerald Henderson. Sounds like a cop.
He's a co-op.
If you're a cop, you got to say you're a cop.
Fucking co-op.
From Ben Burke at Ben Burke 10. How bad do the refs and Secaucus have to be to miss that call off of Embiid's foot?
So bad.
That was ridiculous.
One thing we didn't talk about was the meeting that they had supposedly went well
Oh, yeah.
with the players and the referees.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
I didn't hear about it either.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
I think, hopefully it has gotten better, because it does. it just terrible calls from referees, heightened after that by giving a guy a technical whenever you've missed a call. Hopefully they get it figured out, and especially what a good time to meet during the break going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
It has to be better.
Yeah.
To me, the whole conclusive evidence thing gets out of hand. As far as overturning something, just use why are we not allowed to use common sense on things? I don't understand that.
That absolutely.
Yeah. Did it go off Embiid's foot? Like if you ask the ref, did it? What would he say? Probably, yeah. Yeah.
Did they come out and say why?
Inconclusive.
Oh,
What?
that's what they came out and said.
It was
I didn't hear
absolutely
that.
conclusive. Didn't hit us.
But I think they did
Katie's
because
foot.
at the angle, someone's leg.
Oh, you couldn't actually see it
Yeah,
not
so
hit
they're
his
like
foot.
maybe behind that leg.
Did you see
for
the
that
damn
split
ball move?
second.
Did you see the damn ball move?
It's just-
You didn't.
I don't
Can you
understand that.
imagine if that happens in a critical game
Right.
whenever they're all critical, but during the playoffs, do you imagine something like that happening? It'd just be
Or like somebody
bad.
stepping out of bounds and then not looking at it.
It just doesn't
Yeah,
make
that one. From Ativ at Diamond Ativ 281. When all is said and done, how many championships do you think Russ will have in his career?
Ooh.
What did I say earlier? 14?
14. Yeah, it seemed low, but yeah.
I'm going to go 1.
Oh, that's it.
The better
You get 1? That's pretty good.
I'm
here.
happy with
one
one.
here.
I hope so.
One here.
No,
It better
I hope so.
What do you want me to say, man?
100%.
Say it's happening.
I
Believe,
can't-
bro.
Speak it
I
into
want
the-
it to so bad. I want it too much.
I'm going to say he's going to get 2.
I'm with you, Jason, too.
All right, I'll go 4 then.
I like it. I like that.
This is a very non-biased podcast here at Thunderheads.
From Ben Greer 26 at the number, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are we to get the 3 seed?
That's a good question.
It's so up in the air still.
I'm gonna
'cause
go. I'm
everything's-
gonna go 5.
So how many? A 5. So you're. I mean, you think it's as good of a chance as not?
50-50?
basically.
Yeah, basically. Well, I mean, I would say less than 50-50. Like
That's a 4.
if we yeah, well, if we're doing it like that,
I
if we're
don't know
doing it like
numbers
that-
very well.
If we're doing it like, I mean, you can't say 10, but so yeah, if we're doing it like that, then I'll say 4.
I'm gonna go to a 3.
I'm gonna go. I want to go over so much, over 5.
How many wins does it take?
That's a good question.
I'm gonna say 51.
Right now they're 2.5 back of the Spurs. So
It doesn't even make sense to say 51 though, actually, because
Yeah,
are the
that's
Spurs just
hard.
going to turn it on? Are the Timberwolves going to? Maybe the Timberwolves turn it on. I don't know. I think the Thunder.
That's-
I think
it's
it's
such a
right
cluster.
there. It's right there for the taking for the Thunder.
They could.
They need to just take this.
Just do it, guys.
So I looked up, I went to Tankathon. They broke it down who has the best winning percentage on your schedule remaining. San Antonio has easily the toughest schedule. Opponents remaining 55% winning percentage. That's pretty tough. Oklahoma City is 7. You've got LA. The Clippers are 5. Portland is 6. New Orleans is 8.
What's Minnesota?
Denver 10. Minnesota is 14. Slightly above 50.
It's not easy.
500. Yeah. So it's so hard. With all those teams jumbled, it's hard to even tell what's going to go on.
8.
oh god,
Back to 8.
Got swayed.
for no reason,
Whoa.
just 8.
From Thunder Things at OKC Thunder Up, I'm ready to admit I secretly miss KD. Even though they're each friends with their respective teammates, Russ and KD had a type of brotherly love that transcends friendship. Could that ever factor into a situation where KD returns? If so, after how many rings with Golden State?
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
I honestly could see him coming back someday. I think it'll be a ways in the future though. After he's gotten, hopefully not too many rings though.
I hope it does not happen.
I think it's at least 4 years from now if it were to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, I think it'd be a while.
I think
I'm
it's-
kind of with you though. I don't know if I really want it.
If he was still awesome and
But-
wanted to come back, I'd be like, dude, come
Yeah.
on, we'll
Please.
take
That's
it. I don't
the thing.
care.
I kind of see
We need
this
that ring.
I see this situation where he's looking at LeBron. It's oh, that's how you untarnish your legacy.
Yeah,
But
he would do that, by the way.
And
He totally would do that.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
that's why
yeah.
it makes sense.
Oh,
It's because
yeah,
he'd like,
absolutely.
oh, I could fix everything if I
Yeah.
just went back there.
And from Adam at Adam CFC, best Thunder game so far this season.
Both of the Warriors games were
Yeah, it's
fantastic.
one of those, right? It's got to be one of those.
I'd say the Road Warriors
Yeah.
game. Just you won on their floor and,
Without
yeah.
Dre.
To
Without
me,
Dre.
I think it's still that first one though for me because
God,
I
it was
was
so
not
exciting.
expecting to win the game, and the Thunder came out so hot and just dominated throughout, and I
Kicked
was
their
riding
ass.
such a high that night. So it's still that first one for me.
They're so
8.
They're so good.
I'm
at
at an 8 too.
They're so good at home. I gotta go with the Warriors are. So I gotta go whenever they beat the Warriors at home.
But it was a 7-game losing streak to the Warriors heading into that first time the Thunder beat them, so that's why for me.
Yeah,
it
that was a
it
big
just
deal.
felt so
It was a big-
triumphant.
A big hill to climb.
Hit
if
it.
That's a thing.
Notes! All right, I'm going to run through these real quick. Adam Silver hinted at the NBA taking a serious look at changing the playoff formats to seeds 1 through 16, not organized by conference. We just discussed that, so that's good, though. I'm kind of excited it's moving in that direction. Thunder assistant coach Mo Cheeks is one of the 13 finalists for the 2018 Basketball Hall of Fame.
Nice.
The class will be revealed on March 31st before the NCAA Final Four in San Antonio. Congrats to Mo Cheeks for that.
That's
That's
awesome.
a pretty great honor. This year's NBA awards show will be held on June 25th in LA. Was really hoping they weren't going to do this again.
Jesus, guys.
So they're not going to announce the MVP again until that?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Why did they do this?
It didn't leak last year either. There were, the ballots leaked.
Yeah.
And some places put them together and basically
Figured it
knew
out.
that
Yeah.
Russ
Yeah, everybody knew that Russ had won at that point.
For the most part, yeah. There was that little sliver. Russell Westbrook's game versus Memphis last Wednesday was his 15th career triple-double in which he had at least 20 points and at least 15 assists. That is as many such games as the rest of the active players in the NBA combined.
Good God.
Pretty cool, huh?
You guys good? That guy is really
He
good.
can play basketball.
Per Forbes, the Thunder are the 18th most valuable NBA franchise. It's pretty good when you consider you're the second or third smallest market.
Right.
Yeah.
And you've only been in the league for 10 years?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty awesome.
Another really good point. Every single team, according to Forbes, is worth at least $1 billion.
Yeah, I saw that.
1 billion.
Pretty incredible. Last one. Former Thunderer Caron Butler officially announced his retirement from the NBA.
It's about time, bro.
He had a pretty good career. If you go look at his numbers, it's like, damn.
Also, was he about to try to come back this last couple years?
I don't know. He's a little chunky.
Yeah.
But, Thunder have some of those. They already
We have some of
those.
those chunksters.
Caron Butler's got a cool story, though. Like, if
Yeah,
you've
that
ever...
dude.
He's got a really cool story about how
Super
kinda
impressive
he
guy.
got to where he was. All right, up next, only 2 games this week. Thunder get back at it on Thursday at Sacramento, a place that they lost earlier this season. Got them back at home. Both games have not been pretty for the Thunder. And then Saturday at Golden State, round 3 with this team. Thunder are 2-0 versus Golden State this week. As far as the standings go, we're all at 5 except for Jason's at 4. We all have 1 loss, but Jason doesn't have a loss. So this is critical, guys. We got to get Jason to lose here.
Not happening.
Only 2 games this week, so none of us lost points last week. We all went 2-1. What do you got here, Jason?
2-0.
Oh my gosh.
Woo! I'm going for it. I'm going for it.
The problem is like I want you to lose, but I hope you're right.
I know. It's complicated. I'm trying to fuck with your emotions a little.
So I'll hedge some bets here because if they do go 2-0, that's awesome.
You go 1-1.
But I'll go 1-1 because
Yeah.
it seems more
Smart
likely.
for everyone to do.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
so you know.
Yeah, 1-1.
1-1.
I kind of set it up for this just so I could
Yeah, you
hopefully
did.
make all of you lose a point.
If they, I don't know if I'll have ever been as disappointed in my life as I will if they come out Thursday and lose to Sacramento.
And then they beat the Warriors.
Yeah, what if
Well,
that's how they go 1-1?
Well,
I assume that's how it's going
Well,
to
that's
work. Honestly,
that's what happened last time.
that's what I
Yeah,
figured
it
you
is what
guys'
happened
pick
last time.
was. Was it not that?
no, it wasn't that.
All right.
Thanks for listening. Follow us on Twitter at OKC Thunderheads. Justin's over at ThunderTie. If you watch us on YouTube, thank you so much. You can subscribe, so be sure you do that and turn on that little notification thingy. You'll know when we go live every single time. We're also on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, Spotify, everywhere else you find podcasts. I'll catch you guys with an aftershock after the Kings game on Thursday, and we'll be back with a full pod immediately following the Golden State game on Saturday. So till then, and as always, Thunder up. Wave to the camera, Rob. It's our new thing.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Wait, this is